And the presenter is Executive Vice President and Executive Officer, Head of Systems and Services Business, Head of Social Innovation Business, Keiichi Shiotsuka. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shiotsuka. Thank you very much for your attendance at Hitachi IR Day. Without further ado, I would like to discuss the IT sector, its business policy. What I would like to communicate to you is that we, the IT sector, for the whole of Hitachi, is going to lead the digital business for the whole of Hitachi, and we would like to conduct huge investments so that we can strengthen Lumada business to deploy it globally and create ecosystems to push for social innovation. So these are the 3 points that I would like to discuss today. Hitachi, in April this year, reorganized the organization. As Mr. Higashihara said at the outset, we divided our businesses into 5 sectors. And to achieve the targets under 2021 Midterm Management Plan, we started to operate under the new organization. And here's the outline of the IT sector that we are responsible for. It's comprised of 4 business units. As you can see, the characteristics are such that service and business platform. We have services and platform BU. That's part of our sector. And here's the overview of last year, 2.2 trillion in revenue. We have 76,000 employees in Japan, as well as overseas. And we have 47 countries and regions where we operate. So to get down to the main agenda, what is the vision that we aspire to achieve? First, let me discuss that. On this slide, the mission for us is summarized. To lead all Hitachi's business fields as an engine for growth of the Hitachi Group with Lumada business as the core and improve values for society and customers. So that is the mission before us. And through achieving this mission, we would like to generate social, environmental, and economic values, 3 sets of values we would like to deliver to society and customers. That is part of our mission as well. In order to accomplish this mission, we, the IT sector itself, has to be stronger, more competitive, and grow further. That is what is required of us. Now, please take a look at this slide. To meet customers' expectations by leveraging digital technologies and become top-class solution provider in the global market that creates a sustainable society. That is the vision. As is stated here, on the left-hand side of the slide, starting from 2015, we have implemented a variety of reforms, and in fiscal year 2018, we have come to a point where we are able to achieve a double-digit operating margin. The blue part in the graph, this is uncharted territory, and this is where we would like to reach. So 4 trillion yen in revenue and adjusted operating income ratio of 15%. So this is the class or the league that we would like to be a part of, and we are committed to achieving this. For this target to be achieved, the Midterm Management Plan 2021, which started in April, is going to be crucial. Now, getting back to the earlier slide, in order to reach this blue territory, if you will, 2021 target needs to be met. And the details will be provided when fiscal year 2021 is discussed, its positioning and so forth. At any rate, under the new midterm management plan, we would like to at least reach the entry point of this blue area. And once we do so, we will be able to seek to have higher growth. 4 trillion, 15% operating margin are very, very challenging targets, as is shown on this slide. In the previous midterm management plan, FY 2018, cash necessary for growth was to be generated. And for that to happen, we went ahead and implemented so many different reforms. In the next 3 years, the cash and profit that is generated will be utilized to grow revenue in the global arena. As you can see from the earlier graph, we have been successful increasing profitability in the next 3 years. In the IT sector, we would like to drive revenue, and that is where we would like to focus on. And beyond that, global top-class IT sector, that is, we will be able to see its target that is further away, but through step-by-step efforts, I'm sure we will be able to achieve it. And just briefly, I would like to provide an overview of the results of Midterm Management Plan 2018. I talked about this before, but once again, I would like to briefly recap what happened. Under the 2018 Midterm Management Plan, we focused very much on driving profitability. This is a crowded chart, but the pink part of the bar chart, 200 billion, this volume. Through exiting and integration, we grew the areas of focus, and we maintained a revenue of 2 trillion. And in the last year of the midterm management plan, from 6.7% to 10.9%, we increased the operating margin. And you will find some numbers below. The cash flow from operating activities in 3 years' time, we have been able to accumulate to 670 billion. In fiscal year 2016, we launched Lumada. We implemented preparations for the next phase of growth. In 3 years' time, 100 billion yen of investment was made into Lumada-related business. And as you can see from this slide, under the 2018 Midterm Management Plan, as is stated in the first line, not just exiting and integration of businesses, but, for example, with Hitachi Solutions, we strengthened and reorganized SI business for social and public sectors. Manufacturing was strengthened, productivity enhanced. And as is in the middle of the page, project management was made more thorough. We often talk about that. In order to have thorough project management, we needed precise systems and mechanisms, and we made sure to build them. And by so doing, driving down the lost cost. And Lumada was launched, and digital solutions were generated. Service business expanded. So these are some of the initiatives that we took in the last 3 years. In the former information sector business, all the employees who were involved in our sector have made an all-out effort at these initiatives. And next, targets of 2021 Midterm Management Plan. The targets, as I said, in the 2021 Midterm Management Plan, revenue, the top line, will be expanded. That's what we're aiming to achieve. For that, well, some investment we decided not to make in the last 3 years. But in the next few years, that won't be the case. I think huge investments are necessary. So centering around Lumada, which is the engine for growth, in 3 years' time, 1 trillion yen or so will be spent for growth investment. M&As will be part of this. For M&As and other business expansions, 830 billion yen, and investments into Lumada related development, 150 billion yen. These are the amounts to be invested in according to our plan. So the blue territory, 4 trillion and 15% margin. In order to achieve these hard targets, we need to backcast. And I think what we need to achieve in the plan, 2.6 trillion in revenue, 13% operating margin. We need to achieve these numbers first. Otherwise, we won't be able to go beyond that. And please take a look at the bar chart. 400 billion, it says at the top of the bar. This is Lumada business revenue from car business. The IT sector continuously has to drive investments into Lumada business, and by so doing, other sectors' Lumada-related business revenue can be grown to 400 billion in total. 3 trillion yen of business that we will be contributing to as the IT sector. For 2021, financial institutions BU, social infrastructure BU, we have these core businesses in the next 3 years. We have concrete strategies and plans for them. And since the start of this year, Lumada business, is it really going to be the main pillar of Hitachi's business? Questions have been raised. And how can Hitachi's business been grown using Lumada? These are questions often asked. So to respond to them, I would like to discuss how we can achieve that with Lumada in the next few slides. Once again, what is Lumada? What is Lumada? In a nutshell, Lumada is about creating new value through co-creation with customers and partners by utilizing data. It's an engine for that. That is what Lumada is defined as. More specifically, together with customers, as is described on the slide, we will pursue co-creation, and tools and know-how for that are developed, use cases and solution core. And in order to develop and implement them, IoT platform will be brought to bear. To provide solutions for customers' management issues, business issues, Lumada exists as the platform for all digital businesses run by Hitachi. What is the model?
So Lumada business model, in summary, looks like this. As you see at the top, we will establish a business model for providing the value speedily to many customers with as minimal customization as possible to realize both the expansion of revenue and high profitability. This slide shows the success models of competitors, and at the bottom, Lumada business model is also displayed. Accenture, IBM are listed. We have strong products that they don't have, and the control and management, OT and IT. So OT times IT times product helps us develop services using various know-how at work sites and realize the social innovation through ecosystem with our customers and partners. This is Lumada business model. Accenture, IBM. We learn from these successful cases, but grow in a different model from these giants. Now, what should we do and how should we do this? So 5 points are mentioned here. So let me explain these items one by one. First is the accumulation and the application of the customer cases and solution cores. Please take a look. I'm sorry for such a busy slide, but this diagram shows the value chain of our customers' businesses on the horizontal axis and the customers' types of businesses on the vertical axis. And it shows the areas and types of use cases, customer cases, and solution cores. The actual slide is very big, and it's confidential, and that's why I intentionally made it small so that you cannot read. But we constantly update this, and it's always by my desk. As of the end of 2018, we have accumulated over 600 customer cases. It's over because we are working on many of them right now, and 70 solution cores. So we have accumulated significantly. And the concrete items are, for example, the upper right, the diagnosis of failure alerts. If you click this, you can see life, energy, and industry, the examples in other industries. So in smart life, predictive diagnosis for medical equipment, and in energy for power plant, and industry for machines and equipment. This is just one example. So we have use cases available for customers in various sectors. In addition, the information on these customer cases and solution cores are shared internally, POC, POV. It's utilized for customers' proposals. But this map, if you could take a look closely, the industry and value chain are listed, but there's still big white space. And we have these customer cases and solution cores, but customers' businesses change, and IT technology also advances. So the already developed solution core needs to be honed and improved continuously. So we will utilize what we have accumulated so far and at the same time enrich the new customer cases and solution cores through collaborative creation with customers and partners to accelerate Lumada business activities through new investment. So my message is we will continue the investment mode consistently. So as we saw in fiscal year 2018, the service menu that is already established, the moment it is released, it will become obsolete very quickly. So we need to continue improving. And that is what I mean by Lumada-related investment. And this slide shows our utilization in other sectors. We will combine other sectors' products and services, including mobility, and smart life, industry, and energy, and continue supporting these core businesses. So this is multiplied by Lumada. To create new solutions and offer them to our customers with our partners in other sectors and contribute to the business expansion of Hitachi Group as a whole. On the other hand, in order to deliver the three values, social, environmental, and economic values, to the society and to our customers, and to realize the social innovation, Hitachi cannot do it alone. So as I said earlier, we need to utilize the customer case and the solution core, the cloud infrastructure and development environment, and marketplace are being prepared for customers to utilize customer cases and solution core. which is the place for co-creation, which we call Lumada Economic Zone. So in this ecosystem, we will build a win-win relationship with customers and partners to expand such economic zone, to expand our business, both depth and breadth. Next is about our specialists and human resource. We've often talked about the enhancement of our data specialists, such as our plan to increase the number of data scientists to 3,000. When we say we will promote the digital efforts in order to pursue Lumada business, as you saw in today's newspaper, we need not only the data scientists, the AI, but also, as shown in this graph, we also need design thinkers who identify the essential challenges, or the domain experts who have knowledge on the operations, and security specialists to ensure safe and reliable use of system, and also the engineers who actually design and build the system by considering all these requirements. These talents with diverse skills will work as one team. As you see at the bottom part of the slide, we are focusing on the employee education. And from around 5 years ago, I've been focusing on professional certification system. We plan to increase the number of specialists from the current 20,000 to around 30,000. And I mentioned this in this meeting last year. We, IT sector, need to continue strengthening our overseas business structure. This is our urgent task. A few pages ago, this one, I showed you Accenture and IBM. On the right side, the number of employees and the revenue was listed on the slide. But compared to other companies, Accenture and others, we are significantly short-handed, especially in overseas markets. So, in order to enhance our overseas business structure, we have been taking various measures in 2018 Midterm Management Plan in order to achieve the target of doubling our overseas revenues. So established Hitachi Vantara and established Hitachi Global Digital Holdings and acquired Green Cloud, and also started the collaboration with Virtusa in digital businesses, and also SBI, the largest bank in India, State Bank of India. We established a joint venture with them. But even then, our IT sectors overseas human resource is 23,000. So we want to increase this to 40,000. Otherwise, as I mentioned at the outset, 1.1 trillion yen target, overseas target, cannot be reached. So we need to do this by all means, and we will have the capital subscription and M&A to enhance our global business structure focused on the front end delivery. Lastly, I went rather quick, but this shows some numbers. Our IT sector with Lumada at its core will target the revenues of 2.6 trillion yen and revenues of Lumada business of 1.2 trillion yen and overseas revenue of 1.1 trillion yen, ROIC 15%, and adjusted operating income ratio of 13% in fiscal year 2021. As you see in small letters at the bottom, with the front business and services and platform, in order to move to the next stage, we will promote our business with front and services and platform working in unity. As you see here, we will become the top-class solution provider in the global market with a strong resolution. our 76,000 to 80,000 IT sector employees. We will share this with all of us so that we can improve the QOL and improve the value of customers' businesses. And as a result, we can grow our business. With a strong belief, we will promote our midterm management plan. Thank you very much for your attention.
Let us move on to questions and answers. Any questions at this moment, please? Question. There are two questions I would like to ask. Question number one has to do with page 13. Taking a look at this slide on page 13. In 3 years' time, growth in revenue, the sector's business and overseas business. It seems that you will be able to achieve this just by growing overseas business. But in the domestic market, what's going to be the market environment, and what are you planning to do in the domestic market here in Japan? That's my first question, and allow me to ask the second question. Page 16, Accenture, IBM, you have a comparison with them, which is easy to follow. In order to drive overseas business, BPO type of business that they are doing, 460,000 versus 76,000, a gap in human resources. And so strengthening delivery capabilities to conduct a BPO business in overseas, is that what you're looking to do, or are you going to do something else? So how will you grow your overseas business? That's my second question. Answer. Thank you for the questions. To address your first question, as you can see from the slide on the screen, the room for growth mainly comes from digital business overseas. That is true. And in the domestic market, financial institutions BU and social infrastructure BU, what are we going to do for these businesses in Japan? 480, 500 billion, these are the sizes of revenues, and the breakdown will change. The top line will remain more or less flat for these businesses, but the structure of the business will evolve and change in terms of financial institutions, legacy settlement systems, mission critical systems. Rather than them, digitization type of business will grow in financial institutions business, and social infrastructure, social and public sector business will increase in this BU. So for each of these BU businesses, of course, we will drive overseas business. And so growth is expected in overseas, and the legacy business will decline. And we will supplement that with newer businesses. We're trying to transform into service businesses from SI business. So by changing the business structure, new areas, including digitization, will be grown. That is what we're aiming to do. That's point number one. Point number two, Accenture's BPO business you mentioned as an example. At this moment, the image or the vision that I have is as follows. Well, there are various types of BPO business that you can conduct. The one that we're good at is something that we are already engaged in globally. Accenture and some other BPO firms, we have no intention of entering an area that completely overlaps with these players. 460,000, out of that, 300,000 is software development, BPO, 50, 60,000 frontline people, 100,000 people. We're not thinking of competing head-on with these players in that kind of world. As I said, in the area of Lumada or surrounding Lumada business, there is value to be had within the customer's value chain. We're trying to engage in that customer value chain. In terms of BPO, there are areas that we can enter and be successful, and there are others where we do not intend to enter. So no intention of having head-on competition with these giants. And in areas where we do not have to have that, we would like to grow. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but that is our thinking as of today.
Any other questions? Question. I have two questions. First, overseas Lumada. How much you will grow in overseas Lumada will be the key, I think. So the business expansion investment, you have budgeted a sizable amount. In the overseas market, the delivery and front line, is this to capture the talents for the front line? The valuation is high, so the overseas sizable M&A to increase the revenue, is that part of your option? Or is it rather increasing the delivery headcount to expand the Lumada core that you cultivated in Japan? So what is your plan going forward? Answer. Let me answer one by one. Thank you for the question. You're exactly right. That is what we are aiming for. So you are more well-versed with this than I do. So in IT companies in the world, valuation, EBITDA multiple, if we want to do M&A, they're expensive. And many players, other companies, did many M&As, and so it's evident. Accenture and others, there were many M&As. That said, our plan is we do not want to acquire companies that have strong top line, but it's the front line or digital people, staffs, human capital. And I did not touch on this today, but as you saw in the last slide, digital holding. There are many missing functions. We are short of digital personnel, so we want to have strong resolve to go for M&A of such nature. In the past, we acquired companies that were surrounding our core businesses in smaller scale, but going forward, the key will be the number of digital talents, digital personnel when we consider M&A. And so from last year to this year, we are creating shortlists from the long list, but I would like to stop there. Question. Lumada's overseas revenue ratio at this point in time is 10%, if I'm correct. So Lumada overseas revenue 500 billion yen. So from the current 100 billion, you will reach 600 billion. Is that right? Answer. You're right. So numerator and denominator. Right now, Vantara and HCC and HPY in India and HiSol and HiSys. If we put them all together, there's the Lumada surrounding business, but it's less than 10%. So 10% of 2 trillion is 200 billion, but it's less than that, so less than 10%. So to raise this to 500 billion, 600 billion, you're right. And we are thinking of various measures to achieve that, and delivery personnel. There is a big potential area that we can potentially tap on. But if you are well versed with IT, ICT, you probably know, even with various weapons and solutions, we need to deliver this to the customer. A service cut or whatever, we have to deliver. And with the current resource, there are areas we can do it and areas we cannot at all. So we need to fill the gap. So the investment is to fill the gap. Thank you. Question. My second question is very simple. From continuity point of view, Lumada has core and SI. So core is growing, and you showed us that the core is growing. But now you no longer have core and SI. If there's less significance of separating them, could you explain? Answer. My personal view is we initially we had core and Lumada related SI business to make it easier for you to understand. But in this medium-term plan, adding values, various values. Lumada is the growth engine, and it's a value-added type platform from the work front to ART. So the surrounding areas will overlap, for lack of a better word. So we can no longer clearly draw a line. So to straight answer your question, in the next 3 years, core or peripheral or surrounding, Lumada and SI, I think I will stop using these words. But at this point in time, Lumada related 1 trillion yen revenue, core and the other is 3 to 7, 30, 70. This is because we were in the investment mode. We were investing in the core, and there's a recovery model. In the next 3 years, we want to look at Lumada as a whole, altogether. Then if we want this to communicate this in an easier to understand way, we want this to be Lumada. It's not decided, not finalized, but my personal view. Which is easier to understand? If you could give me an advice, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Question. There are 2 points I would like to ask. One, page 13. On this slide, Lumada-related investment. In the last midterm management plan, 100 billion, and this time you're saying 150 billion. Originally, the solution core use cases are needed to be accumulated. Once they're accumulated, as you explained earlier, they can be reused. You will be able to have leverage as a result. Now, when we think what could happen beyond that, once 150 billion yen investment is complete, solution core will be more or less complete, mature, or as you said, do you still need to keep on updating this so that you need to have continuous investment? 70 types of solution core you mentioned. I don't really understand what that is about. When you disclose this, once it hits 100 from 70, you will have enough to achieve 4 trillion yen of revenue, or do you need 300, 400 types of solution cores? So given the investment that you need, how many do you need to achieve leverage? Answer. Thank you for the questions. Those questions are at the core of what we do. At the outset, I gave an overview of the last 3 years. While driving profitability, we have made an investment of 35 billion per annum, and we try to recoup the investment. And there are areas where it was successful. There are others where it was not. There are so many lessons learned. Last year, I said solution core is around 100. If possible, 1,000 use cases I mentioned. We've been working on this, and I talked about white space. And I always have a sheet alongside my desk, and there are areas where there is not enough value, and these are the mechanisms we put in place in terms of technology cut. In the OS systems of today, this is no longer relevant, I would sometimes point out, using the sheet. So divisions who are responsible for these businesses, they have to keep on upgrading themselves and keep on scrapping what's become irrelevant. So 150 billion yen of investment, would that be enough? Would that be the end of it? No. Because beyond that, customers will require more. So what's going to be difficult in the next 3 years is now we have 10.8, 10.9, but with new functions added on, we have to make sure that the business structure that we have does not deteriorate too much. And yeah, we have to be digital, we have to be globalized. And that is why we need the investment of 150 billion yen of Lumada investment. And we would like to leverage the huge amount of investment where we're not good at. We have raised earning power over 10% of margin with cash flow from operating activities. We're delivering values to customers, and they're pleased. So based on that, just to give you a straightforward answer to your question, I cannot specifically say what the number should be in order to move to the next stage. What I can say is that we need to keep on brushing up and increasing the number. Solution core, what can be made into products and services, face-to-face customer interface. So we need the frontline employees who work on that. So can we say that 300 absolutely is going to be okay? Well, I would love to say that, but we can never say so. So we have to keep on thinking in the next 3 years. Today I said 150 billion, but that is not going to be the end of things. Another question is Lumada business revenue in other sectors. Lumada itself in the last 3 years has grown by 1.5 times, and it seems that the growth that you are looking to achieve is somewhat lower because Lumada deployment in other sectors is going to be slower. Is that what you're expecting? Now, applying Lumada in other sectors, by combining it with OT, you can leverage your expertise and know-how, and perhaps you may be able to create value more easily. But 400 billion, partnering with other companies, that approach would perhaps give you greater efficiencies for Hitachi. Is that just my own thinking? Is that true or not? I wonder. Thank you for the questions. Answer. What you said in the first half, it's true. Our competitors, Accenture and IBM, they are giants, but they're not necessarily competitors. They cannot serve as success models for us. If we are to be unique, rolling stock, machine systems, medical devices, and plants, these are the areas where we can provide digitization to customers. Just because we sell Lumada doesn't mean that we can drive revenue from products and services. Well, it's more the associated business that we get revenue from. In 2018, we have come to 30 billion, especially in industrial systems. 3 years from now, 400 billion may be too modest a target, maybe so. Because situation keeps on changing. Circumstances change. In each sector, Lumada derived business is given as a revenue target. It's just a plan at this moment. So in 2019, we will have to hammer out more details, have a clear shape and form. And revenue from Lumada business in the IT sector will be outweighed by Lumada business in other sectors ultimately. But unless we make investment in Lumada in the IT sector, we won't be able to run other businesses. So it's not just about our sector alone. We have to have a company-wide perspective. We have to strike the right balance between what we do at our sector and others. 2021 plan. Well, I said we would like to achieve a scale of 3 trillion. If we are to stick to that target, then with 400 billion yen of money, I think we'll be able to have a target of 3 trillion yen in revenue. I'm not sure if I answered your questions. 400 billion. I think we need to hammer out the details, but that is the scale that we're looking at. Investment will continue. And 2.6 trillion, 13% operating margin, operating income ratio, that's going to be very significant. we have a plan for 2021, and the targets are given. So we need to bring ourselves to achieve those numbers now.
Time has passed, so we will close the briefing on IT sector. Thank you very much. Thank you.